You ever have that feeling like something just doesn't sit right? Like, you know the game's over, but something in your gut tells you the real players haven't even stepped on the field yet? Yeah, that's where I was. The HOA mess was supposed to be done. Fake cops arrested. The board crumbling, the whole operation exposed. I should have been relaxing, maybe enjoying a drink. But instead my phone lit up with a call from a number I didn't recognize. 47 p.m. Nothing good comes from a call this late, I answered. This better not be another fake cop asking for bail? The voice on the other end? Nervous. A woman. Chief? You don't know me, but, I live in Westgate Estates. I think something's wrong. I sighed, rubbing my temple. What? Kinda wrong? People at the HOA office? Right now. Her voice dropped to a whisper. They're getting rid of stuff. A lot of stuff. My fingers tightened around the phone. Define getting rid of. Shredding papers. Carrying out boxes. I saw one guy smashing a hard drive with a hammer. That got my attention. The HOA was already under investigation. The board members were running scared. But if someone was covering up evidence in the middle of the night, that meant the real damage hadn't even been uncovered yet. Who's there? I asked. She hesitated. I don't know. A couple of them looked like board members, but there was another guy, dressed nice, suit, expensive shoes. He's in charge. I sat up straighter. A new player. Interesting. Stay inside, I told her. Keep your lights off. If anyone knocks, you don't answer. Okay. She sounded relieved. You're coming, right? I was already grabbing my jacket. Yeah, I said. I'm coming. Hey, real quick. If you're enjoying the video so far, make sure to hit that like button, share it with friends, and subscribe for more awesome content. And while you're at it, drop a comment and let me know where you're watching from. All right, let's keep going. Some people spend their nights watching Netflix. Me? I spend mine chasing down shady guys in overpriced suits. I pulled up near the HOA office, keeping my headlights off. The place should have been dark, but it wasn't. A soft glow leaked through the blinds, the faint hum of a shredder breaking the silence. Someone was working overtime, and it sure as hell wasn't out of the goodness of their heart. I stepped out of my car. No uniform, no badge in sight. Just an average guy out for a late-night stroll. Then I saw him. Expensive navy suit, polished, shoes. The kind of guy who didn't belong anywhere near a homeowners association office, and in his hand, a thick leather briefcase. He walked out fast, head down, like he was hoping no one would notice him. Too bad for him. I notice everything. He reached the curb, glancing around once before stepping toward a black SUV, tinted windows, no license plates. Oh yeah, this guy was dirty. I watched as he yanked open the door and tossed the briefcase onto the passenger seat. Then, with a quick look over his shoulder, he climbed in and fired up the engine. I slipped back into my car, watching as he pulled out onto the main road. I gave him a few seconds, then followed. Now, here's the thing about tailing someone. Do it too close, you spook 'em. Too far, you lose 'em. You gotta find that sweet spot. And this guy? He was driving like someone with something to hide. He rolled through stop signs, checked his mirrors every few blocks, took a turn that made 0 sense unless he was testing for a tail. Yeah, buddy, I see you. I eased back, letting another car slip between us. Patience. The longer I followed, the more I'd learn. The real question was, who the hell was this guy, and what was he trying so hard to bury? And something told me I was about to find out. The SUV weaved through the city like a snake, slipping past empty intersections and quiet streets until it pulled into the parking lot of Westgate Country Club. Interesting choice. HOA scammers and overpriced golf courses. Name a more corrupt duo. I parked a safe distance away and watched as Mr. Expensive Suit climbed out, briefcase in hand. He wasn't alone for long. 2 men were already waiting for him near the entrance. Recognizable faces? HOA board members. One was Greg Thompson, the former treasurer, the same guy who once fined an old lady for having non-regulation flower pots. The other? Mark Sanders, who once tried to ban basketball hoops because they were too urban. Yeah, real stand-up citizens. The 3 of them exchanged quick nods before stepping inside. And just like that, I had a new objective. get close. And listen in. The thing about country clubs, they love exclusivity, fancy memberships, strict dress codes. What they don't love? A guy like me strolling in after midnight in jeans and a t-shirt. So, I did what any reasonable person would do. I walked around back, past the dumpsters, around the patio, and right up to the private lounge's side window. Lucky for me, rich idiots love floor-to-ceiling glass. Inside, my 3 new friends sat in a dimly lit booth. Hushed voices, drinks untouched, tense. But the real power in the room? A 4th man, older, slick gray hair, a custom-tailored suit that probably cost more than my car, and an expression like he was already 3 steps ahead of everyone else. Mr. Lancaster. I'd never met him before, but I knew the type. The kind of lawyer who didn't just defend criminals. He created them. I pressed in closer, listening. Too many loose ends, Lancaster was saying, voice smooth but cold. You should have controlled the situation sooner. Thompson shifted nervously. We didn't expect it to blow up like this. No, Lancaster agreed. You didn't. And now the police are watching, which means you have 1 shot to
clean this up before it turns into something bigger. Sanders hesitated. And if we can't? Lancaster leaned back, sipping his drink.
Then he said something that made my fingers tighten into a fist. Then we burn it down. Everything. Oh, hell no. These guys weren't just scared, they were desperate. And desperate people? They make mistakes. I just had to make sure I was there. When they did. You ever have one of those moments where you realize, in real time, that you just screwed up? Yeah. This was one of those moments. I was crouched outside the country club, listening through the glass like some budget James Bond, when my foot, my very stupid foot, decided to betray me. I shifted my weight and stepped directly onto a loose piece of gravel. Crunch. Not loud, not dramatic, but in the dead silence of the night, it might as well have been a gunshot. Inside, the conversation stopped. 4 heads snapped toward the window. My brain had exactly 2 seconds to process 3 important facts. The glass was tinted from the outside, but that didn't mean I was invisible. Rich. Criminals are paranoid, and paranoid people do dumb things when startled. I needed to move. Now. I spun and slipped into the shadows just as a chair scraped against the floor. Then came the words I didn't want to hear. Go check it out. I kept low, sticking to the hedge line as heavy footsteps hit the pavement behind me. Then I heard a second sound. A radio. Yeah, boss. Checking the perimeter now. Oh, great. Not just any security. Private security. Because of course these HOA clowns had hired their own personal goon squad. I glanced back. The guy following me was big. Bigger than me. Tactical vest, buzz cut, and the general energy of someone who ate nails for breakfast. And he was moving fast. I darted around the building, hugging the wall, searching for there. A side gate, unlocked. I shoved through it, heart pounding, slipped into the parking lot and, slam, I collided hard with something. Or someone. Whoa, buddy. Where's the fire? I stumbled back, eyes snapping up. Another guard, smaller than the first one, but still built like he could bench press a truck. His eyes narrowed. You lost? My brain did exactly what it always does when I'm caught red-handed. I smiled. Yeah, man. My bad. Thought this was the bathroom. Silence. Then behind me, I heard the first guy's voice. Found someone. Crap. I didn't wait for an introduction. I grabbed the second guard by the shoulder, yanked him forward, and used his own momentum to spin past him. Then I ran. The parking lot was too open. Nowhere to hide. Nowhere to blend. I needed cover. Distance. Anything. I spotted my car at the far end and sprinted toward it just as the guards' voices rang out behind me. Hey, stop! Not today, boys! I yanked open my door, slid inside, and peeled out before they could get close. The good news? I was out of there. The bad news? As I turned onto the main road, my stomach dropped. There, on the pavement near the country club's side gate, my police ID badge. Lying face up, shining under the streetlights like a giant neon sign that screamed, someone important was here, and, just like that, they knew they were being watched. You ever corner a rat and watch it squirm? That's exactly what I planned to do with Mr. Lancaster. By now, he knew someone was watching. He just didn't know who. The ID badge I left behind? That was a problem. But problems can become opportunities if you play them right. So I did what any reasonable person would do. I became the problem he was scared of. First step? Anonymous tip. I grabbed a burner phone, dialed a number I had no business knowing, and sent a text straight to Lancaster's personal number. Unknown number, you've got a leak. Lancaster, who is this? Unknown number, someone who knows what happened at Westgate Estates. Someone who has proof. Lancaster, what do you want? Unknown number. A meeting. Tonight. No response for a full minute. I could feel his paranoia through the screen. Then, Lancaster. Where? Hook. Line. Sinker. The fun part about trapping a snake, you gotta make it feel safe first. I picked an abandoned warehouse on the outskirts of town. Classic, right? Big empty. Space. Just shady enough for a guy like Lancaster to think he was in control. I even planted evidence ahead of time. A few fake files. A voice recorder tucked under a table. A burner laptop showing a folder labeled HOA fraud. Full report. That ought to get his blood pressure up. Now, let's talk about presentation. I didn't show up in uniform. Didn't flash a badge. Tonight, I was just a nobody, a desperate guy looking to cash out on information. I sat on an old crate, legs stretched, hands loose. Casual. Like I had all the time in the world. Lancaster? He wasn't so relaxed. He walked in with 2 bodyguards, thick-necked, guys in suits that screamed ex-military now hires out to criminals. The moment he saw the laptop, his jaw tightened. I assume you're the one who texted me. I smirked. You assume correctly. He didn't like that. Good. Lancaster nodded to his guys, and they fanned out, checking the area. Standard intimidation tactic. I let them. I wanted him to feel safe. Then I leaned forward. You've got a problem, counselor, I said. A big one. Lancaster's lips thinned. What do you have? I tapped the laptop. Everything. His gaze flicked to the screen. His fingers twitched. That brief second of hesitation told me exactly what I needed to know. He was scared. He reached into his coat, slow, deliberate. Pulled out a thick envelope. Cash. This should cover your silence, he said, voice smooth. I looked at the envelope, looked at him. Then I laughed. Oh, buddy, I said. I don't want your money. His smile slipped. Then what do you want? I let the tension hang. Let him squirm. Then I stood up, stretched my arms and said, I want to watch you. Go down. The color drained from his face. For a split second, I thought he'd lunge at me. But Lancaster was smarter than that. Instead, he did something way more interesting. He smiled. Slow, cold, calculating. You think you're clever, he murmured. But you have no idea what you've just stepped into. That's when I heard a click from behind me. I turned and came face to face with a gun. Oh yeah, this just got fun. You ever walk into a situation thinking you're the one holding all the cards, only to realize someone just stacked the deck against you? Yeah, that was me. Staring down the barrel of a gun. 5 minutes ago, I was in control. I had Lancaster rattled. The fake files on the laptop had done their job. He thought I had real dirt on him. Thought I was some rogue whistleblower playing a dangerous game. And technically, I was. But here's the problem with traps. Sometimes, you're the one who steps. In one, the guy holding the gun. I knew him. Not just knew him, worked with him. Detective Cal Dawson. Former Vice Squad. Sharp. No nonsense. The kind of cop who could smell a lie before you even told it. But right now, he wasn't a cop. He was Lancaster's guy. I exhaled through my nose. Dawson, fancy seeing you here? His grip on the gun didn't budge. Lancaster, oh, he was loving this. He stepped forward, slow and smug, fixing his cufflinks like he hadn't just tried to buy me off 5 minutes ago. Didn't see that coming, did you? He said. I shrugged. Nah. I just assumed you surrounded yourself with amateurs. Lancaster chuckled. Oh, some of them are. But Cal? He's a professional. Yeah, that much I knew. Dawson had been one of the best. But then he disappeared. Left the force under personal circumstances. Turns out, those circumstances had a name. Lancaster. Damn, I smirked. What did he pay you, Dawson? His jaw ticked. Lancaster answered for him. Enough. I let out a slow whistle. So that's it? You go from busting criminals to guarding them? Dawson's grip tightened. Yeah, that one hit a nerve. But here's the thing. I might have been caught off guard, but I wasn't helpless. See, before I walked into this little chat, I had one very important detail in my favor. I had been recording everything, and that little microphone tucked inside my sleeve, still rolling. I just needed to stall. I exhaled, shaking my head. You know, Dawson, I actually respected you once. His lip curled. You don't know me. Maybe not, I admitted. But I know the look of a guy who's in too deep. He didn't respond. Lancaster did. Touching speech, Chief. But I don't think you understand what happens next. I raised an eyebrow. Oh, let me guess. You kill me. Lancaster grinned. Kill you? No, no, no.
That would be too easy. He turned to Dawson. Take his phone and check his pockets. Anything he has, wipe it. Dawson stepped forward. And I knew right then. I had one shot to turn this around. You ever watch a man realize, in real time, that
he's completely screwed? Because that's exactly what was happening to Lancaster. Dawson reached for my phone, but I didn't resist. I let him take it. Let him pat me down, searching for anything that could be used against them. He didn't find the wire. Rookie mistake. See, while these guys were busy flexing their fake power, I had already played my final card. My sleeve mic, connected, my burner phone, live streaming, to everyone. Westgate Estates. The people who had been bullied by this HOA for years. The same residents who watched Sergeant HOA and his goons get arrested? Yeah. They were watching this too. Lancaster was still talking, still gloating. You cops always think you're untouchable, he said, pacing in front of me. But power. Real power isn't about badges. It's about control. Oh, buddy, you should have stopped talking 5 minutes ago, because right then, his phone rang. Not just rang, exploded. Notification after notification. His face twisted, in confusion as he glanced at the screen. Then his whole body locked up. I smiled. Something wrong, counselor? He didn't answer. Because right at that moment, shouts erupted outside. And then, sirens. The cavalry had arrived. The warehouse doors burst open and real cops flooded in. Guns drawn, voices barking orders. Dawson backed away, hands slowly raising. The bodyguards, they didn't even try to fight. They knew it was over. Lancaster, though? He ran. Of course he ran. Cowards always do. I took off after him, boots slamming against concrete as he bolted through a side door and into the night. He hit the pavement, running full speed toward his SUV. I smirked. Bad choice, because waiting for him was half the damn neighborhood. People with phones out, cameras rolling, the same people he had tried to control. And now, they were controlling his fate. He skidded to a stop, chest heaving. One guy, a retired veteran, crossed his arms. Go ahead, run. A woman, probably fined for having the wrong shade of curtains, tilted her phone toward him. We'd love to see where you go. And just like that, Lancaster knew he was done. He slowly turned, right as I walked up, hands in my pockets. I tilted my head. So about that real power thing. He didn't answer, because the cuffs were already clicking shut. Lancaster was in cuffs. The HOA scam was dead. The fake cops, exposed. The corrupt board, gone. And the whole damn neighborhood, cheering. It should have felt like a win. But something wasn't right, because as the officers shoved Lancaster into the squad car, he wasn't panicking. He wasn't begging. Hell, he wasn't even mad. He just sat there, breathing slow, staring straight ahead, like he knew something I didn't. That's when my phone buzzed. Unknown number, I answered. Yeah? A voice, calm, amused. You've been busy, Chief. I stopped breathing for half a second, not because of what was said, but because of who said it. The voice was smooth, professional, dangerous, the kind that only calls when they want you to know they're watching. I turned, looking back at Lancaster. He wasn't staring ahead anymore. He was staring at me, and then he smiled, like he'd just won. I stepped away from the noise, my grip tight on the phone. "Who is this?" I asked, keeping my voice level. The man on the other end chuckled. "Let's just say Lancaster was a small piece of a much bigger puzzle." A chill crawled up my spine. Bigger how? Silence. Then, "Keep digging, Chief. You'll find." Out. Click. The line went dead. I exhaled slowly, rolling my shoulders, because suddenly, this wasn't over, not even close. I looked toward the flashing lights, the chaos settling, the neighbors finally free of their corrupt HOA. They thought this was the end of the story. But me? I knew better. Justice isn't a moment. It's a war, and I just won the first battle. If you enjoyed this video and want to see the next part, let me know in the comments. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to stay updated. See you in the next one. Your support means the world.